Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm here to share a story that's been hard for me to bring to light. I'm a 45-year-old woman who has been through one of the darkest times in my life. After many years of marriage, I found myself facing divorce, which left me feeling utterly lost. For months, I struggled with my self-worth. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the person staring back at me. I often wondered why anyone would find me appealing, especially since the compliments from people who once called me beautiful had faded into silence. It felt like I had lost my identity completely. I spent so much time alone in my home that I realized wealth had brought me nothing but isolation. I invite you to subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Your support truly means the world to us and motivates us to share more meaningful stories with you. If you enjoy our content, please share it and leave your questions in the comments below. Every interaction helps us foster a closer, more connected community, and I encourage you to stick with us until the end of this video. Thank you for being here. Everything changed when a new neighbor moved in. Despite our 25-year age difference, this young man brought warmth to my life in a way I didn't expect. His presence turned everything upside down. The first time I saw him, he was walking by in ripped jeans and a simple white t-shirt, exuding a bright smile that could light up any space. He looked to be in his early 20s, full of energy and joy. I found myself watching him from behind my window, unaware of the whirlwind that was about to happen between us. It was he who made the first move, but it wasn't a typical introduction. There was no polite greeting or casual small talk. Instead, he was direct and a bit cheeky, which both surprised and intrigued me. One morning, I opened my door to find him on my porch with a cup of coffee, looking every bit the confident stranger. "Hi, I'm his name," he said, his voice full of self-assurance. "This place seems so dull. I've decided to make it my mission to take you out of here." His confidence momentarily left me speechless. I tried to play it cool when I replied, "I don't think we've met." He just shrugged, that playful grin still shining on his face. "Well, everything has to start somewhere. You could invite me in for coffee, and we can talk more in your bedroom," he said boldly. His audacity stunned me, a mix of unease and curiosity washing over me, yet I couldn't help but feel tempted by his charming confidence. "I didn't invite him in," I said, trying to brush off the awkward moment. But just as I was about to shut the door, he spoke again. "Mary," he said, his tone playful, yet challenging, "when was the last time you had an adventure?" He took a slow sip of his coffee, keeping his eyes locked on mine. "If you can't remember, that's your problem." I attempted to ignore him, but Slatter was persistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer, and soon found more ways to provoke me. One day, while I was tending to my garden, he caught me off guard again. "Mary," he asked, his voice unusually serious, "when you look at these flowers, what do you see? Wilted leaves that need care, or the beauty waiting for spring?" His words struck a chord within me, even if they made me slightly uneasy. "Slatter," I said with a smirk. "People your age usually don't talk like this." He leaned in closer, his gaze unwavering. "People my age often speak nonsense, but I'd rather spend my time wisely with someone who matters." As days passed, our conversations became more common. Yet, what Slatter offered wasn't mere flirtation. It was a challenge to step outside the safe boundaries I had built around myself. One evening, as we sat together on the porch, the The soft rustle of leaves broke the silence. After a moment, he turned to me, a thoughtful look on his face. "Mary," he asked, "why do you always seem so in control? Have you ever considered letting go? Have you ever stripped away all the layers and truly lost yourself, like swimming in the ocean at midnight or being with someone you truly want?" I held his gaze, searching for meaning, and replied, "Slatter, you're young. There are things you don't quite understand. Losing control isn't always good." I challenged him with my eyes, expecting him to back down. Instead, he gave me that mischievous smile that always stirred me up. "No, Mary," he leaned in slightly. "The real issue is that you've never truly found yourself. Maybe that's where I come in. Let me help you." His boldness sparked a mix of anger and curiosity within me. His words unsettled me in ways I couldn't fully grasp. The next day, he showed up at my porch again, claiming he needed advice about his new house, but I knew better. The conversation quickly shifted back to familiar territory. "Mary," he started, leaning in closer across the table, his eyes studying mine with an unsettling clarity. "I can see that spark in your eyes, the youthful passion you still hold inside. However, you've tucked it away so securely that you've forgotten where to find it." When he spoke those words, I felt a mix of embarrassment and annoyance rise within me. Trying to maintain a tough exterior, I asked, "Does this relentless approach ever actually get you anywhere?" His grin was knowing, as if he had been waiting for me to say that. "It's not just persistence, Mary," he replied gently, his voice taking on a deeper tone. "I want to help you rediscover the fire you've buried deep inside, the one you've forgotten about." Despite my resistance, his words began to break through my defenses. He seemed to see me in a way that no one else could. When he visited next, I was on my porch, sipping tea, trying to keep the calm facade I had worked so hard to maintain. He stepped closer, standing just beyond my comfort zone, his gaze intense and searching. "Mary," he said softly, nearly in a whisper, "if you can trust me just this once and let go of your doubts, I'll show you things you've never even imagined." His words felt not just like an invitation, but a challenge. I could sense the weight of it between us. For a moment, I hesitated, my heart racing with uncertainty. Yet, in his eyes, I found something raw and genuine, compelling me to move forward. I recognized the risks of getting close to him, but the allure of those risks pulled me in even more. "All right, Slatter," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "What do you have in mind?" He leaned in closer, his breath warm by my ear. "Just go with the flow, Mary. Your need for control is your biggest enemy." His words echoed in my mind, shifting something within me. That night, I decided to take a leap. I released my tight grip on my life, my thoughts, and my actions. We walked for hours in the rain, every step liberating as our clothes became soaked, clinging to us with each raindrop. I wore a white shirt, and soon it had turned see-through, revealing more of me than I'd ever intended. But in that moment, I didn't care. There was a wildness in Slatter's eyes that I couldn't resist. He was intense, his presence overwhelming, and his words struck deep. "Mary," he said suddenly, his voice a low growl, "a woman like you doesn't belong in a regular life. You have volcanoes inside you, and I want to see them explode." His words pierced through the walls I had carefully constructed over the years. I had always been cautious, but with him, all those barriers began to fall away. The rain seemed to wash away any remaining distance between us, bringing us closer than ever. I shivered from the cold. My skin felt tingly. But when his hands touched me, a warmth spread through me like I'd never felt before. His fingers gently traced my skin, sending a spark of heat through my body, awakening feelings I thought I had forgotten. His touch reminded me of a part of myself that I had buried deep down, afraid to show itself. When our eyes met, I saw something in his gaze that pulled me closer. There was a mix of challenge and desire, a longing that felt almost real, as if he was encouraging me to let go. In that moment, time seemed to slow down. His hands moved effortlessly from my shoulders to my waist, making it feel like we were always meant to be together. My breath caught when he spoke softly, telling me to stop fighting myself and just feel. His words felt like a gentle command inviting me to give in. Part of me wanted to retreat into my comfort zone, but the other part, the one that had been hidden away, urged me to take the leap. So I decided to let go. Suddenly, the space between us vanished, and nothing else mattered except the powerful connection we shared. We peeled back the emotional barriers we had built and stood before each other, vulnerable and unguarded. When his lips met mine for the first time, it was like all the tension inside me faded. For that brief moment, I lost myself in him. His wild, confident touch made me feel something strange, yet thrilling, and I welcomed the sensation. As our kiss deepened, I experienced a release I hadn't felt in years. An intense rush of feelings erupted from deep within me, overwhelming and electrifying. In that moment, I felt truly alive. When he tried to pull away, I clung to him, tightening my embrace, unwilling to let go, despite the discomfort of the thorns pressing against my back. What I felt then was more than just passion. It was a profound longing I had yearned for over the years. That night, I discovered something deeper within myself. I came to understand what true freedom really meant. What Slatter offered me was not just a relationship. It was a chance to rediscover who I am. It allowed me to let go of the doubts and insecurities that had weighed me down for so long. Every touch and every word he shared with me changed how I viewed myself. The time I spent with him pushed me beyond my limits in ways I never expected, and I realized that this was just the beginning of a much larger journey. After that night, our bond grew even stronger, resembling a marriage, but with a level of intensity that I had never experienced before. Slatter made me feel youthful and vibrant, as if I were a 20-year-old woman again, bursting with energy and potential. He treated me with such kindness and attention, whether we were out in public, at home cooking together, lounging in the living room, or most intimately in bed. Each moment with him continued to reshape me, breaking down barriers I hadn't even realized I had. Every experience pushed my boundaries and took me to new heights that I hadn't dreamed possible. I believed we were on the brink of amazing, unforgettable memories that would last a lifetime. However, our intense connection soon became a hot topic in the neighborhood. While I felt a level of discomfort about being discussed, Slatter appeared completely unaffected by it. What troubled me most was the thought of my ex-husband finding out about my new relationship. I feared that he would somehow learn about my connection with Slatter, although I tried not to dwell on that fear. However, Slatter noticed my unease, and gradually, his behavior toward me began to shift. It wasn't that he treated me poorly, but I could tell something was different. I no longer felt like the cherished and passionate woman he had initially fallen for. Instead, I started to feel like just a physical presence to satisfy his needs, something to be wanted rather than to be cherished. The sweetness, affection, and romance that once defined our relationship seemed to fade away, replaced by a sense of urgency and a more primal desire. While I still experienced pleasure, there was also a lingering fear that hung over me. Every morning, I would wake up to find distinct marks on my skin, shaped like fingers, which felt like a troubling reminder of the previous night's events. Additionally, the physical exhaustion from our encounters left me struggling to walk in the days that followed. Then one evening, as I came home early from work, I discovered something that rocked me to my core. A young woman was in my house. She was wearing my clothes. And to make things worse, she was with Slatter. Seeing them together felt like a punch in the gut. In a moment of anger, I stormed inside the house, unable to hold back my frustration. We started yelling at each other in a heated argument. During the fight, Slatter shouted something that really hit me hard. "Do you even care about me? You're still thinking about your ex-husband and missing him." That was when I realized how much my past affected him. I hadn't truly grasped how deeply it impacted him until he said those words. That night, we weren't just arguing. We confronted all the feelings we had been hiding. I could feel the tension rising between us, almost like a volcano about to explode, reminding me of the fierce connection we had from the very beginning. After that moment, everything changed. We became more open with each other. The biggest change for me was admitting that, despite everything, I actually enjoyed having him in my life, his presence and the intensity he brought. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to keep making heartfelt content. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Every little interaction helps us grow and lets us share more meaningful stories with you. We appreciate you being part of our community.